First thing on the agenda, I'd like a motion and a second to allow Brian Elsasser participate by phone. Steve, Phil, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Welcome, Brian. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Eden, okay, second. Steve, any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, motion passed unanimously. We're up to budget. Scott, do we need a motion on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. If you want to do it the way the committees prior to you have done it, it would be one motion and a second for the entire committee budget, which is found in the tan pages.
Okay. Is that all right with everybody to do it that way? Okay. Can I have a motion to put the budget on the Sharon? Thank you. Steve, second. Okay, Scott?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got a quick slide deck to walk through. For anyone that's already been to a committee meeting earlier today or yesterday, some of this will be repetitive, but we'll walk through it anyway for everyone's benefit. So starting with the entire organizational budget as recommended, there's $114.58 million in revenues or sources. There's $121.88 million in expenditures or uses. Yes, those numbers are not balanced, and that is because we have some planned use of fund balance in the recommended budget. Two quick examples of how we're intending to use planned fund balance in 22 are as follows. First, we have the enterprise finance software project that we've been saving for in the IT fund for a number of years. You awarded a contract to a vendor earlier this year, and it will use those built-up reserves in the IT fund to pay for that project over several years. Second example would be road and bridge projects in the highway department. Every year we save money for various projects, and when we have adequate resources available in the reserves to fund that project, then Amy brings it forward as a recommendation in the budget, and that's what's happening here as well this year. Property taxes, the recommended property tax rate remains unchanged pursuant to your long-standing policy directive. It is 82.41 pennies per $100 of equalized assessed value. The supervisor of assessments is projecting conservatively that we'll see a 1.1% increase in assessed value for taxes to be paid in 2022. The blue shaded pie wedges in the chart are the operating levies of the property tax. The green shaded ones are our pension obligations. Typically and historically, you would also see a red shaded pie wedge, that is debt service. But that is absent this year, or for FY22. That's because based on some short-term debt that we issued about a decade ago being paid off this year, there is no need in 2022 to levy for debt service. That being said, we took that savings and we are recommending that we move that into the FICA fund, and so the FICA levy would increase. And that's because we need to shore up those reserves to meet some seasonal cash flow issues that we're having. The other major change in the levy within how we structure the various levies inside that total 82.41 cents is that we're implementing some recommendations from a study that we had Bellwether do about how we pay for the risk management services in the risk management fund. Just for everyone's benefit, those services include our unemployment liabilities, our general liabilities, and our workman compensation liabilities. What we're recommending is that we actually shift some of the levy from the general fund into the risk management fund to centralize the revenues in terms of how we pay for those three types of risks. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, your oversight of the county budget is substantial. There are multiple departments in the general fund and special revenue funds that you have oversight of. And the recommended budget across all funds for this committee is $19,876,000 and change, along with expenditures totaling $39,664,000 and change. When you look at where you are in relationship to the other committees, you are 17% of all of our revenues and 32% of all of our expenditures. In the general fund, we're recommending and presenting to you a balanced budget of $47,185,000 and change, almost $186,000. You'll see that the largest revenue source in the general fund is intergovernmental revenues. That includes income taxes, sales and use taxes, salary reimbursements for those positions in the general fund that are eligible for reimbursement, and the general fund's share of personal property replacement tax. The largest expense is personnel services, and that's just a shade under $32 million. Your oversight in the general fund budget is 23% of the revenues and 2/3 of the expenditures. That, Mr. Chairman, is a very high-level summary of the entire budget, the general fund budget, and this committee's oversight across those two areas. The finance team and I are more than happy to answer any questions you or the committee might have.
Thank you, Scott. Is there any questions from the members? Brian, you got any?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Anybody else? Steve?
Sorry, more just an observation. This is probably more for Nate and I know Nate's in the other room, on public defender piece of it. You know, I know there was an action to move that back in-house a couple years ago, or almost 3 years ago. So it looks like we're making good progress at bringing back in-house. It looks like he's adding 3 full-time staff on as part of that progress. That ties into the budget. Kind of just the general observation is we're about 18% up on the budget compared to 2019, just in the public defender department. So it's nothing to be alarmed about, just more of an observation that our costs are going up, and we kind of assumed they would, and I'm sure that Nate will manage those as we move forward. Thanks.
Anybody else have anything, any comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, just maybe to piggyback on Mr. Ricker's comments related to public defender, just in full disclosure, the public defender did request some commodity and contractual expenditures originally in his requested budget that would go towards actually paying for dedicated office space in a building here downtown in terms of leasing it. Nate's office is getting to the point from a staffing level standpoint. We can no longer have him kind of scattered across the building. We really need to find a centralized office for the Office of the Public Defender. In my recommendation to you, we removed those commodity and contractual expenses, but there is money in the capital budget that falls under Mr. Salzer's committee that will remodel space here in the building next year that will get him some dedicated office space here in the building.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we got the motion, we got the second. All in favor of the 2022 budget, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the informational items. We got the ETSB. David, would you like to? Nothing on that? Okay. Anybody got any questions for David while we have him here? Okay. Next, Nate with the Public Defender report.
I don't have anything to add to my report, but I'm happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Anybody have any questions for Nate? Alrighty, thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Sorry about that. Thought I had it on. Next is a joint resolution appropriation and county sheriff budget related to cost of FOP corrections unit, collective bargaining agreement, joint with the finance audit and legislation of legislative affairs committee. Can I have a motion to put that on? Sharon, second. Eden. Okay, Randy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The appropriation request before you is stated in the briefing as a result of the corrections contract that was settled earlier this month, and also as part of the stuff that went through the County Operations Committee earlier this summer. The sheriff implemented a retention program by paying bonuses to try and keep the corrections staff on duty. We're having terrible turnover out there, so this briefing covers the cost of that, the bonuses, the settlement, and also, as part of the agreement, we're requesting to transfer some of the funds to the employee health fund to cover the cost of the health insurance that was part of the settlement.
Sorry about that. On to the regular resolutions. We've got the COLA increase for public defender. Jennifer will take care of that. And Phil got a first and Steve a second. Thank you.
Okay, this is request for the approval of a cost of living adjustment for the Peoria County Public Defender. This is due to the fact that the state's attorney got a 2.5% cost of living adjustment effective July 1st. And this public defender's salary needs to be at least 90% of the state's attorney's salary. So he needs a cost of living adjustment to keep that 90% portion.
And this is required by the state, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions for Jennifer? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, next we have the SFY 22 Family Violence Coordinating Council Grant. Can I have a motion to put that on the floor? Eden, second. Rob. Okay, Jennifer.
Okay, this is requesting to enter into the state fiscal year 2022 Family Violence Coordinating Council grant from the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority. We've had this grant over 10 years now. It pays for one part-time employee and their fringe benefits and any travel and supply expense related to the grant activity. The grant is for $38,800. And the grant period is July 1st, 21 through June 30th, 22.
Any questions for Jennifer on that one? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Motion carried unanimously. Okay, the next resolution is FFY 21 State Court Improvement Program Grant for GAL project. Can I have a motion to put that on the floor? Sharon, second. Rob. Okay, Jennifer.
Okay, this is requesting approval to enter into a grant agreement for the federal fiscal year 21 State Court Improvement Program grant for the Peoria County Guardian Ad Litem project. This is the third year we've had this grant. It pays for 75% of the pay for 2 full-time independent contractor attorneys to serve as guardian ad litems in juvenile abuse and neglect court. We do not need any budget amendment. We just need approval to enter into the grant agreement.
Okay, any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried unanimously. Okay, the next one's FFY 21 State Court Improvement Program COVID-19 Grant for Remote Juvenile Court Project. Can I have a motion to put that on the floor? Steve, second. Phil? Okay, Jennifer?
Okay, this is requesting authorization to enter into this grant and also to appropriate the funds. This is the FFY 21 State Court Improvement Program grant for the Peoria County Remote Juvenile Court Project. So this is a one-time funding opportunity that came about due to COVID. We were asked if there was anything we needed to improve the court experience for juvenile abuse and neglect court, especially as it pertains to remote appearances. So our judge requested that a remote court site be set up at the Juvenile Detention Center so that parties to cases could appear out at the Juvenile Detention Center and then use Zoom to connect to the court proceeding with the judge. So this funding is to pay for 2 part-time employees to act as remote hearing coordinators, and then the related technology that will be needed. The grand total is $41,026. We're asking this be amended to our budget. Part will go into the court's budget and part will go into JDC's budget.
Okay, any questions on this? Steve?
Just looking at, make sure this is budget neutral, or is there some cost and fringe for this for the county?
It is budget neutral. It will cover the fringe as well for those 2 part-time employees.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Scott, is there anything special we have to do since it's a budget amendment?
At the committee level, it's a simple majority, but it would be a supermajority at the full board level.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, passed unanimously. Okay, the next is FFY 21 State Court Improvement Program Grant for Child Protection Data Courts project. Can I have a motion to put this on the floor? Sharon, second. Eden, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, this is requesting approval to enter into the federal fiscal year 21 State Court Improvement Program Grant Award for the Peoria County Child Protection Data Courts Project. This is a grant we've had now for over 7 years. It pays for 1 part-time independent contractor to review closed juvenile abuse and neglect cases and gather some statistics that are used to evaluate the operations within the juvenile court system.
And how much is this grant for?
It's $10,558 for the period October 1st, 21 through September 30th, 22.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Okay, motion carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Next, we got the IDOT 2022 DUI grant. Can I have a motion to put that on the floor? Rob, second. Steve? Okay, Mark? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. This is a continuation grant that we've been a part of, we being Probation and Court Services for the past 12 years. This is a grant provided by Illinois Department of Transportation. Grant amount is for roughly $305,000, which covers all the costs of the program, including the 2 assigned DUI probation officers. It involves a multitude of probationers involved in DUI court, ranging from our hybrid court, which is people who are on conditional discharge and court supervision, as well as our DUI court. And it also covers the monitoring equipment, being the scram bracelets or cam bracelets involved in monitoring that, and the public defender's portion of time dedicated to DUIs, and the assistant state's attorney who covers our DUI court. This covers not only their salaries, but their fringes, and on the state's attorney side, it covers their dedicated portion to DUI court, their salary and fringes as well. Be happy to answer any questions regarding that.
Thank you. Any questions? Steve?
I guess maybe you could make some comments around the success of this program over the last several years. I think you've had really good success, and for the county, maybe you just make some comments to educate us around that.
Been in this role only a little over a year. Can I defer to my chief probation officer, who knows a little bit more about the statistical portion of that, if that's okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Did you get the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
In regards to the success of the hybrid, which consists of court supervision, CD, DUIs, the use of the EM monitoring, like Mr. Bronke spoke of in regards to the cam bracelet or the remote breath, which is a breath machine, it has been significant in compliance for the individuals to get through the program. There's roughly approximately 900 court supervision CDs, conditional discharge clients currently being supervised by the 2 officers. And then in regards, along with approximately 60 regular probation clients that come in on a regular basis as well. With our problem-solving court, we currently have 5 individuals participating with a capacity of 20, and we have been in communication with the parties also to increase that number up to the capacity level.
Any other questions, comments? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. That brings us down to miscellaneous. Does anybody have anything for miscellaneous to bring up? Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Brian.